Hello, everybody.
Hey, good
Hey,
morning.
hey,
Good
Tim,
morning, good evening.
Colin, Bruno. You guys, I feel like I haven't chatted with you guys in so long. This is great. So, okay, Colin is wearing a freaking tank top, and I'm here in my robust winter coat. I guess somebody gets to work inside rather than being in the garage.
I got that trailer life going on right now.
Sad looks like he's got like 4 shirts on.
Yeah, I am so cold. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the garage. We had a Mft live stream on Binance this morning, which was fun. But I've been in here for a little while and it's cold. My feet are cold. It's cold. Let's see. Hey, Jeremy, how are you? Globy, good to see you again, sir. And let's see, we got Staker Dew, we got Aaron, we got Bricktop, Ludi's here, Victor's here, AB Investments. I don't recognize the name, so welcome. Then Dylan's here, Titus is joining us. This is exciting. This is good. We're having a good showing. A good showing. I'm going through puberty at the age of 40.
I cannot believe you've been thrown in the garage, Sam.
that is honestly that's what happens when your wife has a deliciously decorated house that she really loves and it's all perfect to her utility. You get sent to the garage when you try to set up an office, when you try to set up a workspace. She's like, no, that monitor doesn't fit the aesthetic. And I'm like, oh.
And that's when we realize we are a utility.
Are you kidding? I have no authority here. You have no power here. That's a quote from Lord of the Rings, right? The Two Towers. But yeah, I have no power here. None at all. Hey, Bruno, or excuse me, not Bruno. Hey, Give. Do you have the opportunity today, as we're waiting, we're going to give everybody about 2 more minutes, but would you have the opportunity to talk a little bit about updates on the Developer DAO?
Well, we have the Developer DAO in the room, so Bruno can give you an update.
Give you updates there. Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask Bruno to give any updates that he has on the Vinci DAO. So, I mean, I guess he could do both.
Why not both?
And in just a minute, okay, Bruno, I want to wait until we get started. In about 2 minutes, we'll actually get started getting into the content. As far as content, I don't have anything physically prepared. I don't have a deck this time around. But actually, I am going to pull up something that we've been talking a lot about. Just to make sure. It is great. It is great to see everyone joining on, though. It makes me happy.
Seems spamming all the channels worked.
It does. It does work. And then me going in specifically and calling Colin up himself and saying, Colin, if you're not on the call Friday morning, I will be very put out. And Colin said, I'll be there, I promise. Colin and I actually had a great conversation yesterday.
Sam told me that he would cry if I wasn't here, so I'm here. No, I'm joking, Sam.
I thought you wanted me to cry. I'm going to cry in happiness that you're here.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
No, I'm sorry, y'all. I have a class scheduled during this time, but I spoke to my professor and my TAs, and they gave me permission to be here during these scheduled meetings now, be able to make up everything. So we all good. Sorry about that delay.
I love Davis. I think Davis is awesome. All right, so it's nice.
Such a chill vibe.
It is 9:05, so I am going to get started a little bit. I want to welcome everybody who's on. It looks like we have about 20 people on. And we were just joined by Lorraine from the Incubator DAO. Lorraine, you can pop in and say hi.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Good morning.
Good.
So this is the All DAO call. We've been doing a pretty good job. Okay, if you hear any rustling, it's because I'm cold and I'm wearing my big old jacket. I am going to be holding the All DAO call every other week at 9 a.m. on this time, unless we have, unless it's such a bad time for a bunch of people that we need to hold a second one at a different time zone. And I'm totally happy to do that as well. But what I want everyone to understand about the All DAO call is a couple of different things. Number one, it is voluntary, of course, you don't have to be here, but it's great to have people here to be able to ask questions, feel the community, feel like you're actually vibrantly engaged in a larger project than just the 2, 3, 10 people that you're working with, because that's what DAOs are about, right? They're about community, about getting the enthusiasm and maintaining the enthusiasm for all the projects we're working on. And that being said, this is not just for the DAOs that I start, right? So with, for example, for the Davinci DAO, Bruno, you can extend the invitation to everybody in your DAOs. And any other DAOs that people are setting up, bring them on here because hopefully down the road, we'll get to the stage that the first 20 minutes, first half an hour of the call will be general DAO conversations, but then we can start breaking up into breakup rooms where the various different DAOs can start communicating with each other. So if, you know, the Incubator DAO has a project that needs a developer, they can hop in a breakout room with people from the Developer DAO and say, hey, let's play some people, let's play some people. And as the community grows, and as these engagements and these connections grow, all of the inter-DAO relations will go much, much better. So with that, I just want to throw up really quickly. So I made a presentation. Let's see, it was this particular deck was used at the University of Wyoming, the Wyoming Hackathon. It was a fantastic event, and I thoroughly enjoyed being there. Although it was, you know, the elevation there is way too high. Way too high. So I know I always have to make sure I move this so people can see. You guys can see the deck, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Good.
Excellent. So two things that I wanted to flag out of this particular deck. This was an operator's guide to DAOification. Basically, I was trying to help people understand what we need to do as we start up a DAO. Now, of course, because I was talking to these people, we had to talk a little bit about what the code was. I was there in Wyoming celebrating the fact that they just approved their the Wyoming DAO LLC law, which was great. So we talked about, of course, the ecosystem, the DAO ecosystem around what's being built, what exists, and what we still need to build. And so I was talking a little bit about the DAO landscape. But a couple of things that really quickly I want to make sure that I address, because I do talk about these on a fairly regular basis, and I just want to keep on reiterating these points. When we talk about what we're doing with a DAO, we really start by saying, okay, there are three commonalities. We have a shared interest, we have shared assets, and we have shared responsibility. And for most of us, we get that. Right? We understand that in principle. But let me dig in a little bit further into what the shared interest is so that we all understand, because this is where the big difference is between us and other organizations and other forms of organizations. If we don't have a shared enthusiastic interest in the topic of the DAO, in the mandates of the DAO, we will be outperformed by any other Boy Scout troop will be able to outperform us, because we're just a crazy collection of people who are just going to sit around and talk shop the whole time and never get anything done. So it's really important when you think about the DAOs that you want to participate in, whether it's something like the Validator DAO or the Community DAO or the Developer DAO or the Incubator DAO or the basic and matching DAOs and all the DAOs that we have coming, the Creative DAO. We really need to make sure that as you join, you have an enthusiastic interest about furthering the mandates of that DAO, because that's the only way it'll work. Otherwise, like I said, a Boy Scout troop could do it better. Granted, they're pretty organized, so that's not surprising, especially those Girl Scouts with the Girl Scout cookies, like they're solid. But what we have to think about in that, and this I've seen a little bit cropping its head up in a couple of the DAOs that I've talked to, is there can create this us versus them mentality about the people in the DAO and the people out of the DAO. And I don't love that. Like, we need to be non-tribalistic. Just because we may be focused on, let's say, we may be in the creative DAO focusing on marketing and we're part of the creative DAO, does that mean that people outside of the creative DAO can't also do marketing and can't be a very vital and vibrant component of our ecosystem? It's just, they're just not DAO members yet, right? Like, that's just the thing, is we just need to understand that happens. So I want to encourage everybody, as you are working in the DAOs, do not create an us versus them mentality. Do not create an other. Understand that if anybody is enthusiastic about the topics and the mandates that you're working on, they are your brothers and sisters in arms. We're not so different, right? We're really close and we're really aligned. And it's just about continuing to have those sorts of conversations. And I just wanted to flag that and talk about that a little bit because it's so vital. It's so important. So I will pause really quickly before we get into any kind of the upcoming announcements or anything, and see if you guys have any. I don't want to spend more than like 10 minutes on Q&A, but I do want to answer any questions that you guys may have regarding DAOs, DAO tooling, funding, any questions like that.
Hi, Colin.
Oh, Colin raises his hand. Go ahead, Colin.
So I know you have been experiencing a lot of the testing of the tooling, and I was hoping you could kind of give us a gist of what tools are we going to be looking out for, just to be able to implement.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So Give has been working tirelessly on onboarding Aragon, DAO House, and then I've been working with Coordinate. And those are going to be our first 3 tools that we'll have. Aragon and DAO House are both DAO framework tools. So it helps you organize the DAO. It helps you think about it as kind of snapshot and multi-sig on steroids. And because what it allows you to do is you can create a DAO, summon a DAO in the Moloch DAO terms, and also hold votes and have conversations and look at treasuries and do proposals and all of those various different things inside the framework. And so they're super helpful, and it makes things a lot easier to coordinate in those situations. Give, do we have a ETA on the Aragon? Because I think we're finished with the code work and we're waiting on them. Is that right?
Yeah, so Victor, who's also on this call,
Oh,
he's
hi,
actually, he's the hero here. He's been working with the Aragon team and the DAO House team, and he's also working on Snapshot. So he's our DAO tooling genius. And I'll let Victor fill in if you like, but the work is done on our end. They've merged all of our changes. I believe they're just doing testing now. So we should be going live any day now. I'm hoping next week, but you know, it's not really up to us, but we're very, very close. Same thing with DAO House. There, you know, we've done the work on our end. They just have to do the integration work. So that should be coming out in the next week or 2 as well. And then on Snapshot, there've been several queries around, you know, adding more voting mechanisms like quadratic voting, which Sam has been asking for a long time. So again, Victor's working on that. And Bruno has also requested some other features such as hiding the results until you have voted, right? So and a bunch of other things. So I believe Bruno is going to be creating a few issues for Snapshot specifically. But over time, we're going to have a whole bunch of tools, all the tools. So then the DAOs can decide which one they want to go with.
Excellent. Victor, anything to add?
Not much. I mean, you've pretty much captured all of it. The the Aragon guys, it's in their court now. So we finished merging all of those repos. DAO House, the same thing. So we're just waiting on them to start moving the ball.
Excellent. That's very exciting. So DAO House again and Aragon are frameworks that'll help us summon and organize the DAOs, which is great. Coordinape is a little bit more of a contribution compensation platform. Some people on this call have already tried out Coordinape while we were doing some of the early beta testing with them. And they are fantastic. I really love this tool in a lot of different ways. But they are going on chain here. I think by the end of this month is how their roadmap was looking. And of course, they're going to go on chain first with Ethereum, and we're in negotiations for them to deploy rapidly thereafter onto Harmony as well. But that will be a fantastic tool to have. So those are three tools that are happening. I do also want to make a plug for the Dow Global Hackathon that we are sponsoring in coordination with Aragon. So we have a couple of bounties. There's a bounty around kind of a community kick aspect where 3 strikes and you're out. So like if somebody's a real huge tool and everybody in the community hates them, that's not cool. First off, let's just be clear. Like, everybody can bring their value, but in case we do have a legitimate troll come in, we can have a mechanism to move them out. The next thing with these are, I want to be able to create effectively a reverse identity lookout so that I can take a look at your wallet address and run it through an index that will find the DAOs that you are members of, so we can surface that in your one wallet. So you'll have your tokens, you'll have your collectibles, kind of your NFTs, and you'll also have your DAOs and your DeFi all visible there on one wallet, which would be great. And a couple other things that we're working on. We're working on some projects around streaming compensation as well. So that gives you a quick overview of some upcoming tools. And yes, from Ed, I'm also going to look through really quick to make sure that everyone is muted, to see if we can figure out what the source of a little bit of background noise is. Thank you, Ed, for bringing that up. So that gives you a really quick overview. Okay, we have a couple more minutes in the Q&A section. So any other follow-up questions on that?
Just not so much a follow-up question, Sam. We realized recently that we haven't really got clear lines of communication with other governors, which is going to be massively useful going forward. Is there kind of anything in the works regarding kind of getting, I know we've got loads of groups all over the place, which I know you have to be a part of. Is there any kind of easy solutions regarding communications with DAO members? So if we've got kind of work that we need to do that maybe kind of cross-pollinates with another DAO, we can kind of coordinate on that?
Lorraine recommends in the chat, she says, yes, we could have an all DAO chat. And yes, so there are a couple of things that I'm working on to facilitate this. Now that we have a critical mass of participants, that it's not just us kind of spitting into the wind. The thing that I would love to see this happen is over on Discord, just because the tools on Discord are they're so much more robust and so much more powerful than what we have in Telegram. So you can see that the Community DAO in Harmony has established their Discord, which is a great Discord. You can go and play there. And there are a bunch of different ways of both gating and selecting for a variety of conditions for participation in Discord. That's not to say that the Telegram shouldn't exist. It's just to say that it seems to be a little bit more natural place for this to take place. So, but the answer is yes, Brick, top to bottom, we need to start having these all DAO interchanges. Dylan, you raise your hand. Do you have a comment on the conversation, or do you have another question?
Just a comment, and just to remind everyone, we have harmonytalk.1.
That's right.
Right.
Talk.harmony.1. There's a lot of
Talk.harmony.
conversations happening over there on that forum as well.
Yeah, just a reminder. But also just to be more clear, like it's specific use versus like Discord. How would you? My question to you is like, how us as the DAOs communicate. You're saying we should probably communicate with each other on Discord, but we can talk to the All DAO kind of stratosphere on Harmony Talk, or how should we kind of utilize it for ourselves?
That's actually a really good question. So I view these as two complementary platforms. The Discord and Telegram platforms are more the ongoing conversations, kind of the 24/7. We're both up at 2 o'clock in the morning and we're talking about, things that we need to get done. Talk.harmony.1 is a little bit more permanent and way more public facing, which I really like. And so when you're talking about, if we have a DAO that needs, a developer, or if we have a DAO that has a project that we think could work with funding from multiple DAOs, let's put it up in talk.harmony.1 as a proposal, specifically because that is open and visible to everybody. You don't have to be on that specific Discord. You don't have to be a member of that particular DAO, but you can still see that stuff is working. So some of the more permanent sort of announcements and conversations that we want to have, those we should, have those being recorded there on talk.harmony.1. The more immediate 24/7, let's talk about crypto kitties should be a little bit more on Discord or Telegram, but I like Discord. So,
Hey, I've got a comment or two.
hey, Tim.
Hey, just the talk.forum, the way I look at it as this is the one place that we can get the entire community to actually be involved and comment. There's people that don't like Telegram, don't like Reddit, don't like Discord, whatever. But the forum is, I think, really where we need to drive the community to. And you can look at it, it's starting to ramp up in usage, which is what we want. We want the community to start getting involved because they're going to drive this train. So that was just my comment about the forum. And the takeaway from the tooling that you guys are working on, am I wrong in saying that DAOs should probably proceed with caution on stepping out on their own to try to use different utilities out there that may not mesh well with an overall vision that you guys have? I mean, I believe that some of this DAO stuff needs to be standardized. Like, for instance, clocking hours and requesting funding. I think that we should just be cautious about stepping out and doing something on our own that in the end we're wasting our time looking at.
Well, there's always the idea that, hey, we have a need right now for something, and so we need a stopgap measure, right? Even though it made Give pull his hair out, I created a Google spreadsheet to help track our hours, and it literally made Giv's eyes bleed. He was sitting, I was like, okay, I'm sorry, it was really bad. But the idea there was we needed something, right, for the short term. Some of the DAO tooling, we are in such early days with DAO tooling that a lot of this stuff is either still in development or it's in beta or it's just barely been launched. And so there's still a lot of stuff that it needs to do. So what I would say is this: the goal of my department, which is me, and Give, I guess, helps me out a ton, and so does Victor. But the goal here from Harmony's perspective is to bring as many tools and options as possible to the community. I have a long list on the team operations, I think it is, on talk.harmony.1, that goes into, I think, 71 different tools that I'm evaluating and trying to bring on board. And some of them aren't ready yet. Like there's a framework DAO called Tribute DAO, which the framework is brilliant and I love it, but their command line interface only right now, right? And I don't know about, a lot of you guys on the call will be totally okay with that, but I couldn't run a DAO with a command line. Then I'm not that clever. So they're not quite ready yet, but there's a bunch of things in there that we're looking at. And I'm going through them one by one and getting in contact with the team and evaluating the stuff and seeing what we could do to bring them on board. I do, Tim, to your point, I think it's important not to get too far over your skis with some of this stuff. I don't mind stuff like Clockify, especially in the short term, as we are bringing additional tooling on, because as long as there's a standardized approach that we don't mind making the results public at the end, because that's the other big component of like the compensation and time tracking, then that's fine. Like I said, I can only be in so many different places at once. And give, honestly, I think he's currently in 4 different conference calls right now. So yeah, having the way that this scales is having more people evaluating and looking and finding the tools that are as good as possible, especially if it's short-term stuff. So yeah, so I'm both for and against it. So I'm a little bit of a flip-flopping. Sorry, Tim.
Sam, if I could just chime in here quickly. So like Sam said, it's still so early, right? The tools are really primitive, right? And it's going to be very difficult to find one tool that does everything, right? And then every DAO is going to have their own, specific requirements. So I think for now, the best we can do is provide all the tools that we can port across to Harmony, and just have DAOs evaluate them and see which one works. But one thing I'll say is, like, right now we have the minimum viable DAO, right? Which is a multi-sig wallet, and what else, Sam? That's it, right?
Snapshot.
And Snapshot, that's right. So for the governance, you got Snapshot. For payments, managing your treasury, you've got multi-sig. That's your MVD. But I'm seeing every day there are brand new tools being made, right? Modernizing this space. So in fact, I think Tim on the call here from Grindery is working on like a payroll, an on-chain payroll tool, which could really help in the DAO space. We had another grantee who is working on an invoicing solution, right? All on chain. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in this space. But I think what we'll do, probably Sam and I at some point, we'll create like a tutorial or a manual for how to get started as a new DAO, which tools to use for what purposes. So yeah, that just a long-winded way of saying we don't know.
You can simplify that entire thing by saying,
I don't
know. Okay, so I'm going to pause the Q&A section here really quick. Although, Dylan, you did have your hand raised for a second. Are we good? Do we address what you wanted, or?
Yeah, my question was more about scalability, and since we're always rotating governors, as far as like having something standard versus how we want to do it. Like I understand both sides. Like, what if you just keep rotating the same governors? Standardization kind of becomes irrelevant. But when you have to consider, like, maybe the governors are always rotating, you have to have a standard, because if you don't, then the whole thing that was just built can just go down equally as quickly. So I just wanted to say, like, any new DAO that we create and that we bring in, my real question is, what if they're so standard and they already have their own thing, and they come into Harmony, and then they come in with all their own tools, they come in with all their own prefaces and their own ideas for how things should run? What then? What do? That's
it's a good question. Let me answer this, and then let me answer. There is a good question in the chat that I also want to address from Gons. And then we'll turn it over to Bruno, if you want to talk a bit in a minute about the Davinci DAO and the Developer DAO, that'll be great. Lorray, if you want to talk a little bit about the Incubator DAO, that would be terrific. And let's see, Tim, if you want to talk a little bit about, you're a governor now in the Community DAO, right, Tim? Strong Minds?
Yes.
Okay. And then do we have a representative from the Validator DAO on the call? Let's see. I don't think we do. Okay.
Blackers.
I know, right? So we'll make sure that, so we'll do not confirmed. So wait, Staker dude, were you elected in the Validator DAO yet? I think, or no, you just came in on the Community DAO, right? In the most recent election?
From the Community DAO and also the Validated DAO, the election is ongoing.
Okay.
So we
Right.
we have to be confirmed. I think Titus is here. I see
Oh, Titus is here?
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, I agree, Sasha. Okay, so turning to Dylan's question about, okay, if they're standard and they come over here. One thing that we have to be very careful about from Harmony's perspective, from the protocol and platform level, is that we don't pick winners. I mean, you guys are all winners. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back and give yourself a gold star. But we are not going to be a vibrant and active and self-sustaining ecosystem is one that everybody has the opportunity to play in, and nobody gets basically a leg up over anybody else. There are certain things that we want to encourage, of course, just like any good farmer would pull out the weeds and harvest the crops. I don't know where I'm going with that analogy. But the point is that we really, if there's something that works great, that's coming from a different ecosystem, comes in here and it works better, everybody else is going to see that and then try and replicate that. And I'm totally okay with that. This is why I'm bringing on both, DAO House and Aragon. Some people like Aragon a ton better. Some people like DAO House a ton better. But I want our ecosystem to be able to select which ones they want and then see effectively who works where, right? And then to that point, there's another question over here on by Gons. He was asking, where should the description of each DAO live and how should it be promoted to get more community involvement? So over on talk.harmony.one, there is a section on DAOs. And so everybody should head there and describe the DAOs that they're part of. If there's a proposal mandate deliverables, you'll see those. Give wrote up a bunch. Bruno's done a great job creating effectively a really good form for showing you what are the mandates, what are the deliverables, when are the elections happening, all these various different things. And so you can go there and check them out. You will also be able to see on open.harmony.one, did I get that correct? Kind of the open development.
That's
URL.
right. Open.harmony.one.
Yeah. So this is a place where you can go to see almost everything that the core team is working on, including DAOs and descriptions of DAOs. You may have to poke around a little bit to find it, but there's so much information there around what we are doing, around who's working on what and where things are going. Head over there and take a look. So I'll take a pause there. And thank you, Give. He also threw in the roadmap there as well. That'll give you guys some additional information. Dylan, really quickly back to you, and then Bruno, I'd love for you to talk about your two DAOs.
So this is kind of case in point from what the Developer DAO was talking about yesterday. I started off by saying, hey, there's something going on with the Validator DAO. And since now we're all here kind of pat, I think this is, again, like case in point, this is why the Validator DAO was trying to reach out to me. If anyone remembers that conversation that we were having. So bigger question is when other DAOs start bleeding into other DAOs, what kind of responsibility do we take? In the Developer DAO, we handle all sorts of things, but now we have a specific list of what we're supposed to handle. But you kind of see this weird bleed in with the Validator DAO, since they have mainly developer questions like, when is this going to be launched? When is this going to be updated? So on and so forth. So any comment on that? Because I mean, I would love it if anyone from the Validator DAO was even here, because then they would talk about this. If they know EasyNode, if they know Patrick from EasyNode, this is how why I'm bringing this up.
So a couple of things that I would flag really quickly, because this is super important. And we're getting to the stage this quarter by the end of the year where the non-monogamy of DAOs is going to be super vital. I want our DAOs to be more than just the 9 governors. I want Dylan, you can be part of the developer DAO as a governor, but also pick up work from the validator DAO and produce and do stuff there. And pick up work from the Incubator DAO and get paid for the work you do on their behalf. The idea here is, from my seat, when I think about the way in which the DAOs will deploy their capital, what I want to see is anything that they do that furthers their 3 mandates. What they do has to be specifically tied to their mandate of, decentralization in the case of the validator DAO, or attraction and adoption in the case of the Incubator DAO. If you're doing something that furthers that mandate, then you should be paid directly by the DAO to do that. Also, beyond that, when you're doing a larger project that maybe you submitted a project proposal to the DAO and they voted on that project proposal, you'll also get paid for that. So the interactions between all of the DAOs, this piece here, this viral network, that's where things really start to begin to take off. And we're almost there. We're getting close. But basically what we have to remember is, just because we're at the developer DAO doesn't mean we take our marching orders from the governors and the developer DAO, right? We are enthusiastic about these projects. We're an enthusiastic developer, which is why we're part of the developer DAO, but means that we can also answer questions from the validator DAO or the community DAO or the creative DAO. And once we are mature in how this ecosystem works, you will be paid for the work that you do on behalf of any of those DAOs. So I just wanted to flag that because it's so important to see not just where we are, but where we are going with this concept. Okay, let me turn it over to Bruno. Bruno, can you give us an update, since we were just talking about the developer DAO, can you give us an update of kind of where we are in the developer DAO, elections, proposals, multi-sig? I don't think the developer DAO has been funded by the foundation yet, but just give us a really quick rundown.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. Yeah, the developer DAO started, so I can announce the governors. So it's Michael, Aaron, Kruger, Seb, myself, Dylan, Ed Norris, Ivo, and John. Several are here. Yeah, we had, we were a little unfortunate with multisig because, as you know, there's issues in the backend currently. So all the governors are there in the multisig, but currently, yeah, we are not funded yet. There are some issues. Jenny is aware, the team is aware. So yeah, so the mandates for developer DAO will be support. So we are talking about technical support here. The bounties. So this is something that we were already doing months. So maybe, the dev captains, developer captains. So more or less the team elected, they were the dev captains. So now we have, let's say, more formal names for this. And we have the advocacy. This will be workshops, events. We will run 1 meeting per week. We call it the developer meeting, will be Thursday. So yeah, you feel free to join these meetings. We will talk about issues, support, so all the things that are related to developer DAO. Especially also what Dylan said about other DAOs. Would be nice to have their people to just talk about things. Yeah, we have all the, let's say, the technical details about credentials. Everything is set up, so we are really ready to go. Yeah, as I said, we were a little unfortunate with multisig.
That's all right.
That
happens. We've run into a couple of small hiccups with multisigs, but we're getting there. The other thing I wanted to have you talk about just briefly is the Davinci DAO, because the Davinci DAO is one of the first natively born DAOs since we launched the DAO initiative. Of course, we had Venom DAO and a few other of the DeFi projects had their own DAOs, but can you just talk briefly, no more than 2 or 3 minutes, on the Davinci DAO and what you're seeing with it?
Yeah, this is very interesting what we are seeing currently with this DAO, especially if you share now, if you share your chart, what you were showing some minutes ago, maybe I can tell you a very interesting thing that we are seeing currently.
You want me to share this page?
And maybe, yeah, your screen. Yeah, yeah. If you make this page a little bigger. No, this chart, you see all these points there. You see these points? Bigger. So you are seeing that there are at least 1 or 2 points there that are full of nodes. So let's say there are, let's say the bottleneck. So if you scroll, okay, so you see there's one.
Like these guys.
Yeah, so this one here, there's a point there that is connected, is got exactly that one. There's a bottleneck here. So we are seeing this in Davinci, for example. So we have, for example, myself, Kuyavo, we are the developers, and we have, let's say, issues with communication because we have so many things to do in the pipeline, and this is the issue that we're seeing in Davinci DAO. So we need to increase or to improve the communication. So that's really the lesson learned that we are seeing the last months, is that the communication is really essential for DAO. All the upgrades that we have doing in the platform, this needs to be really communicate to everybody. So yeah, I think the other DAOs, especially the Community DAO, will not have this issue. Developer DAO will have this issue because we are working in solving issues and bounties. So we need to, I don't know, we need to improve the communication in a way that some governors will not say, oh, I don't know this.
Yeah.
I missed this or so, yeah.
No, it's a big issue. And it's one of the things that across the board, people are trying to solve is it's communication and human coordination. And on that point, one of the people that I'm working with right now to do a research project over the course of the next year, and so all of you guys will be research subjects, is an organization that's focused on doing a study of DAOs to be able to see best practices, what has worked, what doesn't work. Does our premise around a DAO, the DAO thesis that you can do something you enjoy, you're enthusiastic about, you can do something you get paid for, and you can have a better work-life balance and just be happier overall. Does that actually hold true? And so we're going to be doing a long-term research project over the next year to study that. I want to bounce over to Lorraine really quickly. Lorraine, do you want to give me and us an update on the Incubator DAO, how we're doing with our initial set of governors? And I can talk a little bit about that if you'd like. And also kind of where we're headed in the next week or two.
Sure. It's exciting times right now. We are about to have our first election. Thanks to Bruno and Sam for all the help to get us rolling. We have 5 out of the 9 governors as we speak. We have, I think, 3 more candidates that have posted their intention to get elected as well. And we have also, Jack has been helping us get some nice women into our group, some VCs, and we also have Jovian, who is spearheading diversity and inclusion, and it's just this wonderful little ecosystem that we have created so far. So yeah, that's basically you need to have your election kind of candidacy post up before Sunday. And then Monday to Wednesday, the elections will be on. And so that's where we're at.
Yes, and Bridget has thrown her hat in. So go take a look at Bridget's candidacy post on talk.already.one, which is exciting. A couple of things that we're doing, not differently, because this is what we did almost with all the other DAOs, but just to bring this to the front so you guys all see what's happening. We wanted to create with the Incubator DAO a very specific set of skills at the outset to be able to accelerate projects on harmony. And that's what the Incubator DAO is based on. There are 3 general principles, general mandates, as you all know: traction, connections, and treasury. Traction is all about helping projects get users or TVL or whatever the adoption metric that they have. Connections about helping, you know, projects find creative talent or development talent, or not placing people, but making introductions from project to individuals to contributors. And then treasury, while it sounds like it's about fundraising, it is in a bit, but it's not necessarily about Harmony funding stuff. We have the grants program for that, but the Incubator DAO is going to be maintaining a list, a network of investors that every quarter, every 3 months or so every term of the governors, they will hold effectively a demo day in front of these investors where projects that are looking for angel or venture capital investment will have an opportunity to shine. And so it's very exciting. Now, in doing that, in formatting that mandate, I wanted to go out and find a handful of very specific profiles of people to start the Incubator DAO. So this election will be a little bit different because it's not going to be a free-for-all. Working very closely with Lorraine, we have recruited a great set of 5 to 8, maybe even all 9 of our initial governors may have already been chosen. And so the election won't be an election as such, more as a community vote of confidence for this initial governor set. If there's 1 or 2 spots that haven't been filled, like some of the candidates that we have, they have a conflict or they decide they don't like talking with me on a regular basis, then what we'll end up having is we can fill it in with a representative from the community. But for this first term, to establish the culture and establish the operating cadence of the Incubator DAO, Lorraine and I really wanted to make sure that we had this curated sense, so we can have and these are some fantastic candidates that for no other reason, I'm just excited to bring them to Harmony. Like we have, you know, the lead of Alumni Ventures Group's AVG's blockchain fund is a member of the Incubator DAO governors, which is amazing. So she can bring in, you know, she has connections across the board from, let's see, from exchanges to other VC groups, to various different platforms. She has a deep bench of networks that are viable for the crypto community and will help our projects massively. So and you can go through all of these candidates and see all the amazing things. I just wanted to toot Lorraine's horn. She has done amazing work in DAOs and across many different platforms. She was deep with deepdao.io. That's repetitive, but but she has just fantastic experience. And so when we were talking early on in our relationship, I realized that she would be ideal to help put together one of the DAOs that will have a significant impact, not just on every single project that comes through our platform. So I just wanted to emphasize that. Any questions? No, thank you, Lorraine. You're doing the Lord's work over there. I really appreciate it.
It feels really good to where we're at right now, and you know, the influx of new potential candidates, and also the people that want to join the advisory board, like Bruno. Thank you for helping us get going, and Give and Jack and Sam. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without you. So props to everyone.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. So let's see, we've had an update about the Developer DAO, the Davinci DAO, the Incubator DAO. Who wants to take, hey, Jeremy, do you want to pop on and give us an update on the Community DAO? Or anybody from the Community DAO, it doesn't have to be Jeremy.
Tim, did you want to speak on it?
Oh, Tim.
Yeah, I could try it. Why not? Well, we got the second election is over. We're all in the seats. We're going through our mandates, trying to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks on how to move out on each and every one of those 3. We have established a lot of workflow, communication type stuff. We have a long way to go. I think I heard Dylan say, oh, the Community DAO probably shouldn't have a problem with this. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right. We definitely have an issue with the communication, but the framework is laid. We just need to build it correctly. So we're working on that. You know, if you want to look at our Discord stuff, go for it, but it's not at all completed and structured yet. So we'll be definitely revamping that to make it flow better. We've got, so, and we're trying to do right now is there's some discussion, and I think all DAOs will go through this, is how do you get your work done where you're completing the mandates, you're taking what you've told the community, you know, what the intention of your DAO is, how do you make sure that your workflow is centered on that and you're not branching off in wild directions, you know, doing your own thing? It really is a team, and the team must be on the same sheet. So I imagine, like we all know, DAOs are new, and that's just part of the Stormin and Norman phase of going through something like this. But that's what we're trying to focus on, because I think once we've got our structure, and once we've got our vision, and we're all on the same sheet, and we're got some objectives to get our mandates out there, that we will start being able to push out a lot of great stuff. And the main thing we're focusing on, because if we don't focus on this one issue, everything else that we try to do will basically die a long death, is educating the community on what a DAO is, or what we can perceive to be what a DAO is at this current time, and how they fit into it. You know, with the Community DAO, we have no power. We're not directing anything. We're just facilitating what the community would like. So we've got to educate them to get them on board with that. You know, try to get over the fact that 95% of them just want to know if they made gains.
Right.
We need to chip away at that 95 and get them involved, because they're the voice. So, so yeah, we're Stormin and Norman. Let's just put it that way.
Awesome. Couple of things that you guys maybe be happy about. And then I'm going to call it a great All DAO call. So this is my announcement section of the call. First thing is I got together with Adrian last week, and we spent about an hour filming material that he's going to put into like a 3-minute what is a DAO video. So hopefully I come across as not completely idiotic in this video. And so you should see it soon. I mean, Adrian has a super long list of stuff that he's doing, but it's very exciting. And Jeremy, to your point, yes, great points, Tim. I should have echoed that right off the top, like, yes, 100%. So we'll see that from Adrian coming up soon. In talking about Adrian, I just want to point everybody to what's happening right now in the creative and marketing tab there on talk.harmony.one. We have a call for candidates open for the creative DAO. So, you know, Adrian's going to be part of it. Z from Timeless is going to be part of it. One of the long-term long-term Harmony friends. And it'll be great to see this creative DAO take off and launch. We're still kind of formulating the mandates and all that stuff, so it's early days, but you know, we can get on top of that. A couple other announcements that are coming up. Here in the Bay Area, we're gonna have a couple of events pretty soon. On the 22nd, downtown Palo Alto at Hana House, that evening, starting at about 6 o'clock, there's gonna be an NFT conference where we're simulcasting with Shanghai, doing an NFT Shanghai conference. So if you're vaccinated, there will be a proof of vaccination required. You guys can, you know, take a look. We should have some tweets out about it on Harmony, at Harmony Protocol, to see how you register and get in on that. It's going to be limited to about 50 people based on COVID restrictions for the venue. The next one is on the 27th in San Francisco. We'll be doing a Crypto Underground. We're sponsoring Crypto Underground, and so we'll have people there to help you out as well. We also have a big team of people that are taking off today to go to Lisbon to do the LizCon conference. And so if anybody's going to Lisbon or anybody hanging out there, you'll be able to see and meet the team out there. Then very beginning of November 1st through 4th in New York City, we're going to have a bunch of members of the team in New York for NFT.NYC. That conference. It's at the Edison Ballroom. I believe tickets are already sold out for that, but much like MCon, there are tons and tons and tons of side events. So if you're interested, come on out there. You can meet anybody in the blue shirt, the Harmony blue shirts, and chat, and we'll be happy to see you there. Then tail end of October, tail end of November, beginning of December in Miami, Decentral. Two things I wanted to flag really quickly. Number one, the event in general, we're having a big team there. Number two, if you guys have a project that received a grant from Harmony, we want to make sure that you have space on the exposition floor. Oh, Code Warrior, hi. I'm gonna mute you. We have a 20 by 20 space that we're gonna set up for a bunch of different grant recipients there in Miami. And so if you've received a grant and you want to come and show off your wares and show off what you do, we can get you set up that you'll have a high top that you'll be able to talk to people and explain what it is you're doing there in Miami. Please go ahead and reach out to me and we'll facilitate getting you there and getting you all set up for that. Did I miss any events over the next 2 months?
I don't think so. I think there might be a couple of local ones in SF.
Yeah.
But no, that's it.
We are setting up Harmony telegrams for every city. So there's a Harmony SF telegram, a Harmony New York City, LA, Denver, Miami, a bunch of different telegrams already set up. Oh yes, there is. So the chat has a couple additional events. There is a Solidity workshop. Yeah, Gabriel out of Oakland, he will be helping run the Solidity workshop on Meetup, which is fantastic. There's a crypto cafe on the 20th at 6 p.m. to learn how to make a cryptocurrency event that Dylan posted. So those are additional events that we can see. On that, I'm going to give everybody their 3 minutes back for their day. But let me close by saying my kind of final thoughts. Number one, we are explorers in this DAO space. And I could not be more happy to be on an expedition with all of you people right now to see and break this new project open. I'm so excited to see what we can do in DAOs. And honestly, I couldn't imagine a better team and a better group of people who understand the importance of enthusiasm, the importance of not being tribalistic, and the importance of non-monogamy. Oh, my wife is going to hate me when she hears that. She just the idea of the fact that we do not get married to a specific project or a specific DAO, but that we work across the spectrum, harnessing our enthusiasm to do amazing things. I just can't be more pleased that this gets to be part of my career. So thank you to all of you. I want to encourage you all to remember, do not create others. We do not want to create that differentiation between us and the other people. We want all people in harmony. That's kind of a cliche phrase, but we want everyone to be able to work together on this. So with that, thank you guys all so much again for joining me today, this Friday morning. Have a fantastic weekend. I look forward to hearing from all of you over the next week. And let's get out there and do it and DAO it. Let's get out there and DAO it.
Let's DAO it.
Let's DAO it. All right, you guys. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
See you guys
everyone.
later.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks, Sam. Bye. Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.